Okay, welcome to content therapy, because creating social media content is that deep. Building your dream life, working towards your goals, trying to figure out your brand, your social media, the routines, like it is so deep. And so once a month we come together and we do our monthly installment of content therapy. I am so excited for this. We did this for the first time last month, and I'm so surprised that so many people enjoyed it, because I don't know, I feel like the content that's like, how to hit 100K on social media and how to grow and how to do all these things is always what people love the most. And so talking about like mental health and the human side of social media growth and like the deeper mindset, habits, routines, like all of that, I'm so happy you really enjoyed it. And we're just gonna get cozy and dive deep, and I'm so excited. So everything is timestamped below. If there's like certain things you want to skip over, this is your meeting. This is like, we're in the HR office today, so please feel free to click around certain questions, certain voice notes, and I'm so excited. So let's clock in and let's go to content therapy. Okay, so something that we have all been talking about so much this year is that LinkedIn, I think, is one of the most underutilized platforms for content creators. Like, did you know 54% of brands are actively running brand deals on LinkedIn? I've actually also posted brand deals on LinkedIn. 16% of brands plan to start running brand deals on LinkedIn in the next 3 months. And over half of brands say that running their brand deals on LinkedIn is more effective than other platforms. So we all need to get on LinkedIn. But it can be so hard to know, like, where do you even begin with becoming a creator on LinkedIn? But you guys, I have the best thing for you. HubSpot has a free LinkedIn playbook. It's called the LinkedIn Creator Marketing Report and Playbook. This literally breaks down like everything you need to know about influencer marketing and LinkedIn. They basically surveyed 300 marketers to understand like how they use LinkedIn, and there's so much interesting data in here. And this was put together by HubSpot, who's sponsoring today's episode, and I'm so excited about this. What I love so much about this is it's not just theory, it actually gives you a framework you can sit down with today and start using. It breaks down exactly how brands are structuring their campaign budgets, insights into how companies are choosing the creators they work with, which is so helpful and like actually rare to figure out like what brands are looking for creators on LinkedIn. You can literally go through it step by step and walk away with something so concrete about how to navigate LinkedIn. My favorite part about it is that it actually breaks down what drives ROI, because it proves that on LinkedIn, professional reputation and niche authority matter way more than having a massive follower count, which I love. So definitely go check this out. It's completely free to download. I'll link it down below. HubSpot creates the most amazing free resources for creators and all of us who post on social media. So definitely go check them out. I'll link this LinkedIn report down below. Definitely go check it out. It's linked down below. It's completely free to download. And let's get back into the episode. Okay, so the first question I got on Instagram, and just like some office housekeeping how I do this, is that I do questions from Instagram and then voice notes from HQ. So we have a mix of both, which I just like, there's nothing I love more than a voice note. Okay, the first question. How do you balance going after your goals with spending time with family and friends? I always feel guilty. For context, I'm 29. I'm turning 30 this November. I feel like a lot of the times you see on social media, and I probably perpetuated this a lot in my mid-20s as well, of like, it's like hustle and you're working all the time, and it's like this aesthetic life of building your business and locking in and doing the perfect routines and all of that. But what you don't see is all of the other things that you're missing out on, all the sacrifice of like, not having a lot of time with your family or friends, or maybe not living close to home because it's better for your career. And a truth I've accepted and learned the hard way, I think, is that you cannot have every version of life in one lifetime. And that is why I feel like in these content therapy episodes, we get deep into why I talk about so many things, but that is why I talk about treating your content and your life in seasons. And it is something that has really helped me, knowing that my 20s are a season of building my business and this brand being my number one priority, my career. Like, I have chosen it basically over everything. and that to my detriment as well. And I've always struggled in my 20s between this pull of you're in your 20s, you're so young, like live your life, like just live your life to the fullest and go out. And, I feel like my parents are only going to be this young for this time. Like, you could do nothing until you're 40 and it doesn't matter. Like life starts at 40, just like have fun, whatever. But then there's the other side of that where you think, but I'm only 20. I'm in my 20s. I could invest in my career and like double down in my business and like prioritize work because I'm setting the foundation now. And it's this constant struggle. I think the concept of work-life balance and balance in general has been hard for me. And if you feel that way too, I feel like I feel like it's this almost like feeling and situation that doesn't exist that I've been chasing my entire life, where you just feel like you have everything, but you can't. I just want you to know, I guess, and provide maybe some comfort that I really struggle with that feeling a lot. Like still, I really do. And feeling guilty a lot about how much I work. Something that has helped me is realizing like this is the season I'm in and really trying to own it and be where your feet are and be like, this is the time. The whole let them theory, like Mel Robbins' let them theory, like let people talk about you. Sometimes I feel like also you have to apply that same theory to God, the universe, whatever you believe in, and like let them and stop trying so hard to like push and control everything and just like see where you're pulled and like you're being pulled by something and just like let yourself go in the direction you feel pulled to and trust that you're like letting your, fate, I guess, direction be pulled in the way it should be, if that makes sense. That's like something I think about sometimes too. And just like trust that you are where you're supposed to be, because if you were supposed to be somewhere else in another version of life, you would be, and you're not. So just trust that where you are right now, your 2 feet, is where you're supposed to be, because that's where you are, if that makes sense. So that helps a little bit with the guilt, I think. Sometimes too. One more question and then we'll get into a voice note. So I got this question over and over and over again a lot, and I've been seeing this in HQ chats too. Okay, firstly, how do you get out of planning mode and start actually doing things? How do I stop overthinking content and just like go into action? And another question is, I'm always in a continual loop of crash outs and I feel like I can't just post. I just want to say, like, this is such a safe space for content crash outs and overanalyzing and all of that. Of course, just post, don't think about it, whatever. Would love to be that person who can just not think about something. Would love. But I feel like a lot of us are actually very similar over here. And a tangible thing that has helped me, stop everything and do one thing. And give yourself an amount of time to do that one thing. So for example, let's say you're like feeling all this way. Give yourself 30 days to do one platform and one series. Just do it. If you were totally stuck, or I have to say, I love the April content strategy that we're doing, but I would do 30 days. For the next 30 days, you're only going to post either one topic or do the April strategy of 2 templates, one series, one platform. Like, just start with one thing and do that one thing well. Just simplifying everything, and also breaking up with this belief that you have to do anything. There's no have to's with content. Nothing. Like, there is no have to post one podcast episode a week. Why? That's not a rule. Podcasting on social media, there's no rules, there's no schedule, there is no standard. I don't care what people say. You have to be consistent. Consistency is subjective. It's not an objective term. And people are, it's the number one piece of advice. I get why it's good advice to be consistent, of course, but I feel like there's so many have-tos and so many rules that we put ourselves in boxes that actually don't exist. And if you don't have to talk about 3 different topics, you don't have to have certain content pillars, you don't have to post on these platforms on these days, you don't have to do anything. The secret to success on social media is making your own rules, and those rules are going to be about you, like what works for you. So I will just say, like, oftentimes when we're in freeze, and for myself as well, it's because I feel like I cannot meet the rules of social media that I've made that don't exist. And I feel like because I am, not posting every week or every day, or I'm not, having my content look a certain way, that then I'm failing. So I might as well just do nothing, or I'm stuck or whatever. And a lot of the times the root cause of freeze, whatever, you're not posting is because you are stuck between rules that don't exist. Isn't it so nice that we do that to ourselves? So yeah, I think break all those up. There's no rules. Like, you can do whatever you want. Social media rules are fake. Like, it's all fake. So just pick one thing, one series. And I'm like, so here's your rules. Pick one thing. Pick one thing, one series, one platform, simplify everything, and just do it for 30 days. This is one thing I'll say too with this whole topic. We are so hard on ourselves. Like, we are so mean to ourselves. It's almost like there's this bar that we're all trying to like reach as creators and entrepreneurs that doesn't exist. And I feel like it's, we're thinking, oh, I'm such a failure because I'm not posting every week, or I'm such a failure because my content has this many followers and this many views, or I'm like in my flop era, or like whatever. And I just feel like we're really mean to ourselves. And something you also have to accept is that this is really hard. It is so hard. Oh my God. Making social media and podcasting and a business your full-time job, and growing a following on social media that's large, and the goals I know that you have are really difficult. And I feel like sometimes we think because it's hard, we're doing something wrong. And it feels hard because it is. And I know I've said that a lot, but it's really, really hard. This has not been easy. Like, building Busy Blooming, building this podcast, getting that YouTube blog, hitting 100K on TikTok, whatever. Like, it has been so hard over the years, but like so fun, and I'm obsessed with it, and it's my dream. I live my dream every single day. I don't know, there's this weird like idea, I think, on social media that content is easy and growing on social media is easy, and it's like really, 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 really hard. And so that's why it feels hard, because it is. Let's get into a voice note, and then we'll continue on with all of the amazing questions, which I'm loving.
Finally joined HQ this morning after taking all of your advice for the last year. That has been so helpful, by the way. But anyways, I have a pretty niched audience in the medical world, I guess you could say. So the audience is type 1 diabetics. It's an autoimmune condition. I'm a type 1 diabetic. But my question is, with such a niche audience, how do I still break out of that medical bubble? My page is most definitely not medical advice or education even. It's more of a place of relatability. This is our common ground. But there's so much more to me than diabetes, which is kind of my slogan, because there's so much more to you than diabetes. That's what I say. So how do I branch out of that world while still speaking to the audience?
Oh, such a good question. First of all, I love that you're creating about this and talking about this in social media. It's so important. And this is a good question about, like, okay, you have a niche, right? Like, you could say, I hate the word niche, which I just need to say, but you could say, you're talking about diabetes. Mine would be social media. And I totally hear what you're saying and agree, and I feel like a lot of us do as well. There's so much more to us than that one thing. Like, I feel that way about social media content. I could talk about, Instagram updates and whatever for days and how to grow, but there's so much more to content and social media and just me that I want to talk about. What I will say is a good way to do this, like an actual tactical way, is create a broader through line and a broader mission. The topic of diabetes is one way you accomplish your mission, but like, let's say your topic is, tips of how to or let's say it's like diet, like how to navigate, your diet with diabetes. That's like one of your topics. That helps you accomplish your mission, but there's other things that will do that too. So I would broaden your mission. And I like what you said, that like, there's more to you, there's more life than dealing with this. Like, maybe that is your mission, is you help people with diabetes believe that there's more to them than this. So like, there's life outside of this. Like, maybe that's your mission, right? So then one way you do that is you do talk to people with diabetes about their diet, help them with that. But then you have a through line with that. So then your through line becomes helping people with diabetes realize there's more to life. And so that's why you talk about diet with diabetes, to help them just not have to think about it, and it consumes all their time, so they can realize there's more life. Here's easy meals, right? Then that shapes your brand around that topic. What you talk about isn't diabetes, it's how you help people realize that there's more to life than that. Then this opens you up now. So now you're like, okay, that's my through line. How else can I have topics that help people with diabetes realize this? Okay, I'm going to do one about like mindset stuff. Like, I'm going to help, like, I'm going to do a, Friday reminders series about like things I wish I could tell myself. Like maybe you have little sticky notes that you hold up on the screen or you say about like reminders about this. And then maybe you have another topic in there about showing your life, like your vlog. And then the voiceover is talking about this, like how you feel about it. Do you know what I mean? Like that is a way to have a cohesive brand without boxing yourself in, if that makes sense. This is something I've actually struggled with in my own content strategy because, and some people might relate to this, sometimes the content that does well is not what you only want to do forever. And I know that if I post a video tomorrow that was, how you're going to hit 100K in 3 months in 2026, I know that would do better than this. It just would. But eventually, you want to be strategic in the long game. The long game is something that I am very passionate about when it comes to social media and branding, is you always want to play the long game strategically. So sure, maybe when you talk about the reminders on Fridays or when you talk about your vlog styles about how you're feeling about this, maybe it won't perform as well, but you're strategically branding yourself in a way that like is the long game. So that's what I would say. I hope that is helpful, but let me know. Also last month when we did this, somebody had a knitting idea and the comments were really helpful. So, okay, if anyone has any other ideas, like please comment down below. Okay, somebody said, how to stop getting frustrated when people's accounts are growing faster than me and they just started after me. Oh my God, I know this feeling very well. And this is something I struggle with a lot, like a couple years in, because a couple years in, you're like, I have been doing this for like a while. I'm not brand new. And then people who started 6 months ago are blowing up and they do similar content. And a mindset that's annoying to hear, but has really helped me over the years is things happen for you, not to you. And sometimes you have to, again, trust the timing of everything. Sometimes your content and your business and whatever, it's not blowing up or it's not having all this growth for you, whether that's you wouldn't be able to handle it or you're maybe not talking about the right things. You need to rebrand and then it will hit. And this is something I learned from experience 5-6 years ago when I was doing Busy Blooming and it was very corporate and it was pink and I had all this, I had the women run, I had this like coffee chat marketplace. I was thinking like, why is this not blowing up? Like this is like the best thing ever. And people who talk about similar things are blowing up. I'm so happy that it never did because that is not my lane. Like that was not what I was supposed to talk about and do and build. That is not what Busy Blooming was ever supposed to be. And also I feel like even a few years ago, I would not have been able to handle it at all. Like I wouldn't have. My mental health a couple of years ago, there's no way that I'd be able to, I couldn't even post a podcast episode every week. Like I was, really struggling. So anyways, I feel like there's a lot of reasons that this applies and ways this applies, but I do think first of all, just trust that like things are happening for you in this topic, but then also it is really important, maybe this is harsh to say, it's really important to not fall into a why me victim mindset. Like not saying that you're doing this. I'm talking about me. Like I really was in a victim mindset of like algorithm hates me and everyone hates my content and I can't do it and everyone else is successful and like this is happening. The world hates me and like whatever. But sometimes you gotta get in that like head boardroom CEO seat and be like, okay, what is going on here? Like, why is this content not performing? Why is that person blowing up? What are they doing that's better than me? Because why are they getting more views? Why is this content not hitting? Is this an outdated strategy? Does this work in social media in 2026? Am I actually excited about these topics? Is the editing bad? Is the filming bad? Could it be better? Like, is this my best? It's hard, but it's really important and always being that way, always. So that's something I will say too. And if anyone else has advice too, like please let me know in the comments. Okay, love this question. How do you cater content towards women when the content is about tech and coding? I have such a good tip for this. Talk a lot about your audience. And what I mean by this is a huge thing that helped me grow on TikTok, specifically when I was trying to pivot. If you're trying to pivot and rebrand, this is a tip too. When I was trying to go from corporate content to social media content, my whole audience was like corporate 9-to-5 people. I would say like every video I would start like this. I'd be like, okay, here's how you're going to grow in social media in 2023. All of us over here are content creators and entrepreneurs. Or I would say something like, all of us over here have the YouTube plaque on our vision board. Like, I would make a lot of statements about my audience, and I'd recommend doing the same. So saying like, all of us over here are women in STEM or something, like have some sort of tagline about your audience and just state it a lot. Like, just say it in your content and put it in your bio and just make it a fact of like, that's what it is. If it's not what it is, it's what it will become. It's like you have to be it or for it to become, So anyways, that's what I would recommend. Like, a tactical thing is do that. It really, really helps. Okay, next question. Should you spend money on a social media coach? Financially, is it a good move? Ooh, I would only spend money on a coach if you know what your direction and goals are. If you don't, I wouldn't. I remember when I did coaching, my sessions were $800 for got a multi-page PDF, content strategy, calendars, audit. There was tons of stuff, 60-minute coaching in there. Like, it was a lot in there. I remember when people would submit forms to they would pay in book. And one of their things was, I don't know like what I want to be known for, or I don't know like my direction. I don't know my goals. I would email them back and tell them like, I can either refund you or rebook this in a few weeks or a month from now. And here's like 10 thought starters that I want you to think about, because sure, I could get on the call and we could brainstorm for the entire hour about what they want to talk about. That is not the best use of that person's $800. And it's a lot of money. Like, social media coaches are expensive, and we work hard for our money. So you really want to spend it in a good way. So I would only spend money on, the way I would probably do it too, for me, if I'm like, I need a coach, I'd probably buy a session that's like a one-off session and do like a coaching, trying like almost like this, like a therapy, content therapy or something. I would love to open up like content therapy office hours where we just like unpack or something. I would only pay if you have a clear direction, because you can only strategize a goal and a direction. If you don't have those things, the call won't be the best use of your money. So that's what I'll say about that. But I think, obviously, I think social media and content coaches are great. I just think you want to also really find someone who aligns with like your vibe, because you just don't want to get on a call when someone is really like, talking, like hammering home the algorithm and the technical hashtags and all that stuff. If you are somebody who wants to talk more about branding or whatever. So yeah, that's what I would say. Like, find a coach that aligns with like what you want, if that, like, obviously, but that's just another thing too. Okay, let's do another voice now. Let's do a voice now. Okay.
Hi, Tess. I'm so glad to be here in your busy, blooming community. I need your advice. I've been steadily growing my Instagram and YouTube over the past several months, and I'm at a point where I really want to start monetizing so that I can leave my corporate job that I heavily dislike. I spend every ounce of spare time creating and editing and thinking about my content. I'm already up from 5 a.m. until 11 at night just filming and producing. The followers are wanting more content from me. I already do 1 to 3 reels a day, and then I just started weekend YouTube vlogs. And I want to start monetizing these. I'm thinking of some sort of mini masterclass along with a guide for the advice that I give for women's inspiration, motivation, productivity, weight loss, and things like that. I'm just feeling lost on where to start because I already don't have enough time to keep up with how much I'm posting.
First of all, I just want to say, like, you're doing an amazing job. Like, getting up at 5 a.m., working a full-time job, and like filming and editing every spare moment and thinking about content every spare moment. You are doing absolutely everything, and you should be so proud of yourself, because it's really, really not easy. And I know it's just you feel like probably no one gets it, and it's just really pat yourself on the back for doing all of that. And also take the win that people want more content from you. Like, that's amazing and a huge win. And I feel like you're thinking about this right, of like, how can I monetize outside of just like content, brand deals, all of that. So I feel like one of the best things you can do is something like you're saying, of having coaching or a course or a membership or digital products or something. It is like the best thing to have some sort of income stream that you have control over. That is like one of the best things I ever did, was start my coaching back in 2021 or something. And financially, that's when everything started really changing for me too. So I like what you said though. You're like, okay, but how do I do that? But then I'm also like so busy. I would switch or like maybe reprioritize your focus to making money for a season of time versus growing on social media. And what I mean by that is I would pick one thing, like whether it's a one-on-one, a masterclass, a coaching. I would pick one offer, probably one-on-ones. I just feel like that's what people really want these days, is a one-on-one or some sort of like community live. I just feel like I would do one-on-ones personally. And what I would do is I would open up like some sort of coffee chat, office hours vibe, and I would make my content strategy around that offer for a little bit of time. Maybe the content won't grow as much, but that's okay because your priority right now is to make money. So that's what I would say is do one-on-ones. I feel like they're the best. They're the least time consuming because making a course is extremely time consuming. I remember my course took me like so long to make when I had one, and I would do one-on-ones, and I would keep the one-on-ones like kind of casual, like office hour vibes, and make your strategy. The way I would sell it is I would do some sort of series about like how to blank in 2026. And then at the end of every video and in the caption, I would mention that you're a coach. I would have one pinned video on your Instagram, TikTok about that. I would probably pause the YouTube vlogs, honestly, if you're really busy. And that's what I would do. That's my little strategy for you. Let me know what you think. Okay, the last question. I got this question a lot. It makes me think that this is something a lot of people are going through right now, and I've been seeing a lot of content about this lately. How do you deal with people copying your content? And someone else said, like, I just saw somebody copying my content, like, what should I do? This is something I've gone through quite a bit. Some examples is there is a creator who almost every episode that is here on the podcast has been, the transcript has been downloaded. Same with like the title, the timestamps, everything. This creator translates it to another language, and to the point where it's like, welcome to the meeting, the timestamps are the same, the title's the same, the script is the same, but it's in another language. That is something that I've seen before regularly, you know, people just downloading your TikTok transcripts, exact same word for word, same text on screen, happens a lot, like whatever. And busy blooming things have been copied. I have never said a thing ever. And I feel like, I don't know, it's something I've never engaged with or commented or messaged or posted about or anything, because I feel like if you had 10 million followers or you had everything you want, how would that person react to this? I feel like calling out people for copying your content personally isn't something that I ever want to do, and I never want to put that energy out there. I don't know, I just don't. And it's something I've never will ever create about or talk about or post about or comment on or anything, because I just feel like it's like low vibrational, if that makes sense, personally. And I know everyone's very different with this, but it's something I see, and you gotta just be like, it's really not that serious. It's not. Like, sometimes you just have to look at the people who are in space right now, looking at the earth, and look at that and be like, we live on a floating rock. If someone is downloading my exact word for word podcast script and saying it every single week, and they do really well, and people, whatever, like, none of this is real. Like, it's fine. You know, you're populating the content ideas for some people, which it's I'm happy to do it. And I don't know, that's how I feel, but it's annoying. Like, it is annoying for sure. And I feel like if people were saying like they're annoyed by it, it's annoying. But you have to just let people exist. And the word busy blooming I actually have trademarked, and there's certain things trademarked, but for the most part, just let them. If you had 10 million followers, you wouldn't even notice. You'd be so busy. You know, the biggest creators that we all look up to, they get replicated and copied every single day, and they don't have the time or energy and space to engage. Do I want to? Sometimes, 100%. But just let me say, when they go low, Michelle Obama, you go high, and just go high. Like, just, your energy is such an expensive currency that you don't want to spend on everything. And so spend it on things that fuel you and get you closer to where you want to be. And also, commenting and posting about it won't stop people from doing it. So there's really like the ROI on that time is like 0. Okay, this was so much fun. Like I had the best time filming this. Thank you to everybody so much for submitting voice notes and questions and watching this episode. I really appreciate it. These are my favorite episodes. I'm like so passionate about all of this that we're talking about. I love talking about it. So thanks for clocking in to another episode of Content Therapy. I hope you're doing well. I will see you next week. Okay, bye.